Well, hey there. It's your old pal Keith from wavetables.lol. That's wavetables.lol, home of KRC Mathwaves, easily the world's largest collection of wavetables, single-cycle waveforms, and even some samplers for all sorts of modern synthesizers, including our friend Korg Modwave here. Now, a lot to talk about today. I have some notes, which, I don't know, maybe you can see them. I don't care if you see my notes. It's fine if you see my notes. It's fine. Thank you for stopping by. It's great to see you, friend. We are up to 1,000 subscribers on this channel now, which just blows my mind and is completely gratifying. And they keep coming in. Apparently my last video, which was about the Korg multi-poly, which I'm playing, you can't see. I'm using it as my controller. It's now my new little controller of choice because the keyboard's better than on the original Modwave and Wave State. Anyway, in celebration of reaching 1,000 subscribers, and because it's we're heading into the holiday time, right? We got Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up. I'm doing a special on Mathwaves, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did last year, which is my reverse Black Friday sale. And you're like, well, wait a minute, what's a reverse Black Friday sale? Well, it's a Black Friday sale with extra FOMO, fear of missing out, because prices start low and then they go up. So that's the reverse part. You know, a lot of people like drop their prices near Black Friday. Mine just go up. So right now you can get KRC Mathwaves, which is literally like more than 160,000 wavetables and a bunch of other stuff for all sorts of modern, wavetable synthesizers. Just spit it out, Keith. 160,000 wavetables plus single cycle waveforms and a little sample collection and new stuff that I'm adding all the time. It's usually $29. But if you use code REVBLACK, there will also be links in the description, a link to buy the full version of KRC Mathwaves for just $10 today using code REVBLACK. And then as we get closer to Black Friday, the price is going to go up a little bit, okay? So the best discount is like right now, if you've been thinking about upgrading from the free version of Mathwaves, which itself has 1,600-ish wavetables in it, now's the time to do it. The price is not going to get lower than this anytime soon. So $10, and you know, you're buying me a drink, basically, right? Or a pack of smokes or something, you know? It's not even a pack of smokes. But anyway, jump on that. Don't sleep on that. Code REVBLACK over at wavetables.lol. Okay, in addition to, let's get rid of that. I don't think I need those notes anymore. In addition to a sale on the full version of KRC Mathwaves, right after I had hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, a user over on Gearspace who has the free collection of Mathwaves, a person who goes by the name Aquila Rift, or maybe it's Aquila Rift. I think that's a little play on Aquila Rift. Anyway, kind of a cool name. That's their pseudonym. And so Aquila wrote to me and said, hey, I've got this set of 24 Modwave performances, and I don't really have a means of distributing them. They don't have like a heavy social media presence or anything. But they said, hey, if you want these performances, which I've taken months to build, all of which use at least one KRC Mathwaves wavetable, I would be happy to share them. And I checked them out, and they're really awesome. Like, here's another one. We were just playing in the little intro tune, that little sequencer thing. That's one of these Aquila Rift patches. Here's another one. Ooh. Nice, right? And all of these patches have chaos pad assignments that do different things in different places. They have mod knob assignments. all of which are tasteful and useful. So you can really kind of customize these for your own uses. Boy, and I'm poppy today, huh? Gosh, I'm going to move my mic a little bit. Let's move the mic, Keith. Move the mic. Is that better? Maybe that's better. Also, don't breathe or pop or cough into the mic, Keith. So these are really cool, and so I added them to the free collection of KRC Mathwaves, which is, we're not going to look at you yet, Myth, not you yet. We'll get there. I've added these to the free wavetables collection. So you go to, it's www.wavetables.lol, and at wavetables.lol you've got KRC Mathwaves, which I, again, use code RevBlack to save as much as you're going to save this year on Mathwaves. There's also the free sampler, so you can go over to the free sampler. You can just, it's a name your price product. You don't have to pay me anything, but you can pay me and or tip me. Anyway, once you go buy it for nothing, you will be here, and I have added these new performances for Modwave and Modwave Native underneath the first section. So you've got the section that has the smaller free collections of Mathwaves, and then you've got these Aquila Rift Modwave and Modwave Native performances. There's a single MW bundle file for these. I've packaged them, the performances, with all the required wavetables. So even if you don't want to install the other, like the complete free collections of KRC Mathwaves free, they're all right in here. You know, it's small, it's like 7 megs. So it'll fit in your hardware Modwave, even if you got a bunch of other stuff in there, et cetera, et cetera. Just go get that. It's awesome. It's free. I really appreciate Aquila Rift having reached out and sent these to me, because they're totally awesome. And it's kind of some fun facts about these. They were actually all programmed on the hardware. I think clearly they went to the librarian and did their naming and stuff. But like all of them have patch notes, right? So like, you know, this one, it's a complex pad that decreases in complexity over time, right? Anyway, when you import them to your Modwave using the editor librarian or to Modwave Native, they will show up as a collection of performances called Aquila KRC Mathwaves. Another thing that's cool is they have saved each program. So there's not just the 24 performances, but something like 50 programs and the accompanying wavetables that are included here. So these will just add to, like, when you hit randomize on your Modwave hardware, or like if you use randomize in the Modwave Native editor, like these are whole new things, right, for the randomize to use and pick up on and make new random patches for you. So there's a lot of cool things about these patches. And again, the mod dob assignments, chaos pad assignments, all quite tasteful. Some of them use motion sequences. We'll play through just a few more of these. Oh, they also all have like interesting like mathematical names, kind of in the spirit of Mathwaves. I thought that was super great. Algebra, azimuth. Something like that. Over into play mode. And so you'll see that all of these use Mathwaves wavetables in pretty interesting ways. There's a lot of use of the AB mix mode, sometimes with a built-in Modwave wavetable, sometimes with another KRC Mathwaves wavetable. A lot of use is made of the different morph types and the different wavetable modifiers, which is really cool. These very much float my boat. Nice stuff, really nice stuff, and all yours for free. Go to wavetables.lol and get the free KRC Mathwaves sampler and check these out. They're great. And Modwave Native and WaveState Native are actually on sale over in the Korg shop for just 99 bucks right now, making that very compelling if you don't have Modwave or you want to kind of complete your Korg R&D synth collection and maybe add wave state, both of which are excellent synthesizers. I like this one. A nice PWM-y sound, and you see there's a Mathwaves waveform going PWM and then a PWM thing going on with the basic wavetables. That's cool. What else is there here? Another motion sequence patch. That's cool. Nifty. Oh. Neat. Infinities. Cool. I love all these like cool little swoopy things in the background in these patches, right? And some of them are highly velocity sensitive. It's like you really smack the keys and you get an interesting effect. Beautiful. So these really give you an idea of the different kinds of things that you could do even with just a few KRC Mathwaves wavetables. They're really clever. Super clever, irrational. Yeah, that's me. So, tip of the hat to Aquila Rift. These are really great. Now, if I don't move on, if I don't stop playing through these 24 performances, I'm never going to get to the other stuff that we need to talk about today, friend. So, I'm going to go back to my notes. Oh, all right. So, in addition to the new free stuff in KRC Mathwaves free edition, these 24 performances, there's also some new stuff in the, excuse me, you know, it's drink time, it's happy hour. Go fix yourself a cocktail and come back and watch the rest of the video. I've been adding new stuff to the full version of KRC Mathwaves. Now this is my editing interface, but you know, recently I added and I continue to add. It's going to take me a while to get through them. I started supporting phase plants wavetable format, and these are kind of different in that they have to have 256 frames, so they're like gigantic. They take me a long time to upload, etc., etc. But I'm glad that I added them because Kilohearts has been doing really cool stuff with wavetables that's not just wavetable synthesis, right? They have this new thing called Filtertable that we're going to talk about later, and so that can use these phase plant wavetable versions. And I think there's more than 100,000 total wavetables in the phase plant collection right now. It's not everything in Mathwaves yet. It'll eventually get there. The other thing that I've been doing is since we have multi-poly now, and multi-poly can use wavetables, there's also a new section in the full version of KRC Mathwaves that is slowly expanding. I meant to remove this. Maybe I should edit this, right? Let's see. Did I? I meant to add a couple more. Let's make sure this is the latest version, shall we? Uh-oh, you're seeing how the sausage is made. Because I thought I added a couple new wavetable collections under Modwave Multipoly. But I might not have saved my changes. Well, let's just add them. So in addition to the ones that we've got so far, these are in the these are individual files that are in the Korg wavetable format. So you can load these into either Multipoly or Korg Modwave. So the Modwave collections previously I had delivered as MW bundle files, which is fine, but the MW bundle is not understood by Multipoly. It has its own MP bundle format. So I'm just going through and I'm converting all of the Korg wavetables into just the Korg wavetable format so that you can use them with Multipoly. And let's just go and let's see. Let's just add these files. I'll probably go on pause here and let these upload because there was a few that we didn't. Oh no, they're over in Dropbox. You didn't expect to tune in and see me like dealing with Dropbox today, did you? But let's see. I just added KRC Ve 366, which was one of my most recent variational autoencoder set of wavetables. And then let's see. I got Dawesome Sine, Vebez 119, which was one of my favorite earlier machine learning generated wavetable collections. A lot of nice, really cool tones in there. So there, let's get those uploaded into the product and then save it, shall we, Keith? And so I'll pause. This is great because now I can refresh my drink. Okay. And so now that I've added those things I thought I had added before, we're back. Okay, so there's new stuff coming all the time. Increasing number of phase plant, increasing number of Korg multi-poly compatible wavetables. That's like an ongoing process. Now, other stuff we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Myth 1.5, which is out. And it's interesting because, again, in the spirit of Black Friday, Traction, which distributes Dawesome Myth, has Myth on sale for $89.50. And I guess the question is, can I recommend Myth now? I have done... excuse me. Fresh cocktail. I have done 2 previous videos on Myth. Let's just get Myth up in our DAW, right? So my first video was kind of an overview. It really goes into a lot of the features. Go watch that if you want more detail about Myth. And I did buy the product, but I thought that its original kind of stated goal, and especially its marketing, were like really over the top and really silly. Like, for example, I should back up. Myth is a resynthesis kind of synthesizer, and it has these irises. Let's just go. Wait a minute. This is not the right way to do this. Go to browse. Go to user, Keith. Just go to user, put 1.5 in there. Now we can search on the patches I've made with 1.5. Here is what the resynthesis sounded like in the original version of Myth. This is a vocal sample from, I don't know, some old Ensoniq EPS pack. Yeah, believe it or not, that's a vocal. And you probably can't even understand what that is saying. Right? Well, it's this. So that's the resynthesis of this. Where is that?
And
buffer?
Nothing
there
can
it is.
stop it.
So that's the original.
And nothing can stop it.
And when it's resynthesized using the original version 1 resynthesis, it comes out like this. And so this worked strangely and poorly for all sorts of content. I really couldn't find any content that resynthesized well in Myth. Now, Myth has other things to recommend it. It has a very capable virtual analog engine, but that's not really why you'd buy the product. It also has some physical modeling capabilities. It has like a resonator filter. And so I did a second video that was about the good parts of Myth. But so recently, maybe about a week ago now, Myth 1.5 came out, and it has much improved resynthesis. I suspect that it's using Loris, which is the same the same technology that's used in Madrona Labs Sumu, which I also have a video about, and it's a very interesting synth itself. It looked different from Myth, and it was, it was quite a bit better sounding when compared to Myth. And so, like, I heartily recommended Sumu, but I was pretty skeptical on Myth version 1. But like I say, I bought it because I wanted my review and I wanted my comments to be in the context of a customer. But it seems like Peter, who's the guy behind Dawesome, really took those. Other people made these same comments. I'm not just talking about myself here, but like took these comments to heart and like check out the new resynthesis in 1.5. Whoops, that's not it. Check out the new resynthesis in 1.5.
And nothing can stop it.
Oh yeah, there we go.
And nothing can stop it.
Wow.
And nothing can stop it.
Like that is very close to the original, right?
And nothing can stop it.
I mean, my gain's lower there, right?
And nothing can stop it.
Gain is your friend in this synth, actually.
And nothing can stop it.
Another thing you can do is it's got all sorts of FM and ring mod and amplitude mod stuff.
And nothing can stop it.
It's like, check that out.
And nothing can.
That's really good. And this is probably one of the cheesiest vocal samples ever. Don't get me wrong. I don't endorse this sample, okay? But anyway, so now the Iris thing, that's what these guys are called. The Iris works much better. It has just a lot more capability and a lot more range now. Like there's lots of really weird and cool new things you can do with this. Let's see here. What is going on? Why can't I modulate this right? There we go. Uh-huh.
And can't stop. And can't stop.
Let's reset that.
And nothing.
Now, it's pretty interesting. When you drag a sample into the Iris, you can also right-click and you can do Resynthesis version 2 in mono. You can also now do resynthesizing in stereo, where the left channel and the right channel go into the two irises that you have here. Let's just redo this one, or let's pick another awful vocal sample, shall we?
Loves a king.
It sure
Loves
is.
a king.
Okay. So if we just drag that up into here, into Resynthesize V2.
Loves a king.
So let's just kind of show some of the basic things. You can get this out of my first video and my second video, which goes really deep into the modal physical modeling synthesis.
Loves a king.
When you first load a sample into the Iris, it may have like kind of an arbitrary speed. Whoops, don't do that. But if you right click on it, and you can typically do create and use new alpha O, but I have one set up here. So I'll just do set and use LFO1. And now the speed with which the Iris is being traversed is the same as in the original sample.
Loves a king.
Loves a king.
All right. So that's a thing. But then, you can do like really interesting stuff from here. Like now that this doesn't sound like ass, we can do all sorts of different experiments. And so I've been having a lot of fun with this. Doing stuff like this. Let's see, where is the one I want? It's O. So check this out. So here is these do take a while to load. So this must be using Loris. I haven't really dug around in the files, but Loris resynthesis files are actually pretty large. Like it's not in any way a compression. It's actually an expansion of the original audio. Like the number of partials that it generates, and it generates them as JSON basically, is actually larger than the original sample. So I'm sure that the original Myth patches are probably the same way, but these are maybe even bigger. But I've been having fun doing stuff like this. And I know I'm talky. Sweet, right? So this is two different samples. There's one over here, is this undulating violin sample from a pack called Animoto, which is kind of weird orchestral things. And then another, a single piano sample. It's a fairly low note. And so it's got a lot of like the harmonic resonance from like nearby strings and strings in the piano and stuff. And so it's very interesting as the resynthesis shifts its pitch. Let's turn the strings back on so you can hear them. Here they are separately, I guess. It's pretty neat. So I also find the new resynthesis to be interesting for manipulating the time of an existing sample. So like here's a sample. Let's just listen to the one iris first. It's a little trumpet riff, right? But let's look at how it's being modulated. So let's see, if we go over to LFO, which is driving the time, note how the playback head marker that goes around the iris changes speed. So this is, obviously it's not linear, right? I guess we could change it. Let's change it to a ramp so it's linear. So that's the original timing of the sample. But then, by adjusting the curve that controls the playback speed, which is quite easy with LFOs like this, right? We can just drag different points. We can change the timing of that, and so I think this is a pretty interesting use for Myth, and so this does sound better. I was actually originally, when 1.5 first came out, I was maybe not quite as impressed. The resynthesis does not work perfectly on every type of sample, but it does work well enough. And as I got more into exploring my sample library and converting different things into Myth, bringing them in and fucking around with them, I found myself spending several hours. So I actually think that at this point, I can recommend Myth, especially since right now it's like $89. Is that what it was? Let's go back and look at that page. Yeah, it's $89.50. So that's pretty good. The usual price is $179. I think that actually, I do think Myth is kind of a hard sell at $179. But it is what it is. People got to make a living, right? By the way, buy KRC Mathwaves. It's $10 right now with code REVBLACK. And that price is only going to increase. One thing, let's just play through a few more of these. It's really cool for importing orchestral things. And so, 8DO, now known as SoundPaint, I did a video on one of their sample packs, I guess collection. It's sample pack? It's not really a sample pack, Keith. It was Disco Strings, and Disco Strings is really like a sample library. That's amazing. Go check out that video. That one's really fun. So this is a sample from 8DO/SoundPaint that's from their Cage Winds collection. And Cage are these, the idea is they're aleatoric sorts of samples. They're they can be used to do like really strange things. And so this is like a wind section that's making this crazy texture, right? And this is a very good representation of the original sample. And it's stereo, so I've imported it stereo. So that's kind of cool by itself, right? And, I'm using the effects here. The effects in Myth really are awesome. That was another thing that sold me on it originally. I was like, okay, even though the Iris thing was a bucket of fail originally, some of the processing modules are super cool. They sound really nice. There's like really great effects, like the shimmer verb and this grains effect that's being used here in effects channel 1. They can just really bring a sample to life. And then another thing you can do is, because it has like those physical modeling capabilities. Why do I keep clicking there? I really just want to go to browse. Here's another version of this patch, and I'm popping again. God darn it, Keith. Stop breathing into your mic and like adjust it. Like just adjust it, okay? All right, I think that's better now. So here's a version. It's that same sample, but what we're doing, oops, let me turn that off. But what we're doing is we're running it through the modal filter, which is a resonant filter bank. And you can train it using samples or wavetables or whatever. By the way, wavetables do work okay in the Iris. So if you have a giant collection of wavetables, like I do, like you can have too, if you have the free version of KRC Mathwaves, you've got 1,600 wavetables laying around. If you've got the full version, you have 160,000 at your disposal. You can drop them into like this modal resonator or into the Iris, and you can get interesting sounds. In this case, we're taking this crazy wind texture and we're running it through the modal that's got it's got like a Rhodes piano chord in it. And so what's going to happen here, just play something, Keith. Ooh, mysterious. So those strings, those winds, those wind instruments now become like bell-like. Like very atmospheric, very interesting, right? So that's a cool thing you could do. And if you want to know more about modal synthesis, where I take a really deep dive into the world of exciters and resonators using Myth, go see my second video about Myth. That the graphic looks like an old-timey 50s record album. It's called The Exotic Sound of Myth. Another thing, and it takes time to load these patches, but another thing that's interesting is that the first version of the Resynthesis could not do things like model noise very well, and that's one of the reasons I think this is using Loris, because Loris models the noise as well as pitch-changing partials. It can do turn off OS2. This sound is actually in the full version of KRC Mathwaves. So this is based on a sample called Enigma 4 Loop. And the Enigma samples are like various kinds of noise that are run through some resonators. And so they're really weird in that they don't have a well-defined pitch center. But this is very much what the original sample sounds like. And, so it can even play those back. And there's multiple modes. I guess I didn't get to the multiple modes. Like, once you have something resynthesized in the Iris, there are 4 different modes, and these are actually pretty interesting. So there's Wave, which is a little bit it's good for almost any kind of content. It tends to preserve high frequency stuff pretty well, although maybe it's a little accentuated. And then there's a version called Soft, and Soft is like probably the closest to for like acoustic instruments and stuff like that. It's a little less you're not going to hear the difference here. It's a little less exaggerated in the high end. And it's kind of like the most accurate version of the model. And then you've got grain mode, which seems to, I think as the playhead is moving, it's kind of sampling points around it. So it's a little bit like a granular synthesis effect. And then there's flat. And in flat, this is super interesting. Flat, the partials don't track pitch. And so what it tries to do is it tries to conform the sample to a single pitch. And let's listen if anything happens with this wave. Yeah. So of course it's not being very successful at flattening that sound. But again, this is a sound that specifically was designed to not have a clear pitch center. One thing that's interesting, we're going to go back. Oh God, we're going to go back to that really cheesy "Nothing Can Stop Us" sound. Oh, that's the version 1. We want this one.
Nothing can stop it.
Now, when you go to flat mode with a vocal sample like this, this will actually kind of force it all to be the same pitch.
Nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it.
And that's a really interesting effect, right? And I think what I meant to do to show you is that I'm going to turn on oscillator 1 with the ring modulation. And now we've got Daleks.
Nothing can stop it.
Exterminate.
Nothing can stop it.
So, kind of interesting, fun stuff you can do. Other things I've been having fun with the updated version of Myth is I have a whole ton of samples that are, like kind of chordal hits and stuff like that come from the old Equip music collections and stuff. And so like, here's one that's kind of a musical hit. And it's really fun to be able to, to use these at, resynthesis, like can separate like, time, timbre, and pitch, right? So you can just throw a sample into here and then we can play it at different pitches. And the fact that the resynthesis isn't perfect, is kind of cool with samples like this actually, because this sample is it's actually like probably out of an SP1200 and then like, printed to tape and like redigitized. And so it's got a lot of degradation anyway, and so it just kind of adds to the flavor to do this resynthesis thing. And you see I've got this one in grain mode. But then it's pretty fun to then remap time. Let's go to another example where I think I did a little time remapping here. Yeah. So with this one, right, the LFO that is controlling the position of the playhead. Again, it's not linear. And so in this sample, like I'm pointing at my screen. Don't point at your screen, use the mouse. So like in this section, there's this like kind of tinkly glass-like texture. And so this envelope shape for the LFO is slowing down time here so that we kind of linger on that effect. And so it sounds like this. It's really interesting. And then, once you have a patch like this, you can just throw other samples into it. Let's go get some other samples. Anything from EQ is going to work pretty cool with this. Sounds chords. What do we have here? Okay, remove that filter. This is Sononym, by the way. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's import that in stereo. So what we do is we drag it, we put it in the center, and import to stereo. And there goes the resynthesis engine. And whoops, oh, that was a little too fast there. And then we'll right click on this. So we'll say set and use LFO2. Actually, we'll use set and use LFO1 for both irises because this is the same sample. Here we go. And let's change the mode for both these to soft. Maybe I want that to happen later. No, I want it to happen earlier. Super cool, right? Now, I guess before I leave Myth, I guess I do recommend it now, especially on sale, like at 89 bucks. Maybe it's worth your time. Although I do have a caveat. It's like Myth is a professional synth, I guess, but it's a little bit, I would say, on the lighter side of professional. And I don't think, unlike the way that Peter from Dawesome positions this synthesizer, I don't really think it's good for novices. Like, I don't think, because it's like highly modular, one, on the plus side, that makes it possible for you to do all sorts of modulations, right? But you have to know what those are. And so if you're still learning synthesis, I'm going to say that you actually need exposure to like a truly professional instrument that has a defined architecture so that you can really learn about what are the different modulations that you do and what are the different ideas of synthesis. And I have to say that I think like Korg Wavestate and Korg Modwave are excellent synthesizers for that, or multi-poly for that matter. But I'm talking about VSTs today, and the multi-poly is probably out of your price range. But at 99 bucks, Korg Wavestate and Modwave over in the Korg store, like, look, so Modwave native, Wavestate native, and Op6 native are 99 bucks. So essentially the same price as Myth. And I'm going to say that maybe with the exception of Op6, I don't have Op6, so I can't comment on it. But Wavestate native and Modwave native, if you don't have like a really solid sample-based synthesizer, that would be Wavestate. If you don't have a really great wavetable synthesizer, that would be Modwave, which is my favorite wavetable synthesizer. Okay, either the hardware or the software. Like at $99, I would go get that and then save Myth for like another time. Or if you're feeling flush with cash, like go get them both. There's value in both of them, but something like Modwave, I think, has more range. It's more interesting to me. Okay, I do want to show like one or two other things. Let's see here. This is kind of an interesting, so this is a Rhodes chord that's stereo. That I've turned into this very pretty pad that evolves over time. And one thing that's really fun to do is like you've got two effects channels, and one of them is, again, it's FX2 over here, is using the Reso module. So this is a resonator, again, it's a tuned resonator, and I'm loading the same sample into it. So my source sample is this Rhodes piano chord, and then I've also tuned the resonator by dropping the same sample onto this resonator. And so now this sample is now resonating with the same frequencies as that resonator, and it's just a very interesting sound. I guess I'll try to turn it up so that you can hear what it's affected. I've turned off FX1. I'll just turn it all the way wet, I guess. So the combination of grains and the resonator is doing something really interesting, right? And then if we leak the dry signal back into it, Anyway, a lot more ideas like that are explored in my video on physical modeling in Myth. I guess we looked at this guy before. What else do we have? Let's get this one. What is this one? Oh yeah, here's another like chordal hit that I've like radically slowed down, right? So you see that it progresses very slowly over what would otherwise be a percussive sample. And I'm also using an LFO on one of the effects channels, right? Modulating the gain. I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah, this one. So I've got a gain module at the end of this effects that's being modulated by this almost sawtooth LFO, and so you hear it pumping in the background. Chun, 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 chun. Anyway, lots of neat atmospheric stuff you can do with Myth now. That, you know, it's better. It's better. There are other things about this synth that sort of bug me, but I've said my piece about it. I think it's great. Okay, so let's move on. There's another new use for wavetables. The guys at Kilohearts. I find it so hard to say Kilohearts. Kilohearts. They've been doing really interesting new stuff with wavetables. So not only do they have Phase-Plant, which has a wavetable oscillator, it has an annoying wavetable format, but whatever, people like it, so I have to support it. They've introduced recently this new thing called Filtertable, which is a snap-in, also a standalone VST that uses wavetables to create a filter through a form of convolution. And this can be really interesting. And they also have a shaper table, which is a distortion that uses wavetables, which is less appealing to me. But you can use all of my wavetables with that. So in our next segment, we'll look at Phase-Plant and Filtertable together. I'm going to take a short break, and I'll be right back. But you see, you won't see the break. So I guess maybe pause and go to wavetables.lol. And buy KRC Mathwaves using discount code RevBlack, right? You could do that. What else could you do? I don't know. You could refresh your drink. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, there's a reason I have notes, and that's because I forget stuff. And before we leave Myth, a couple days ago now, Dawesome started teasing a new synthesizer that's basically Myth, but it's free, but it's only got one iris. It's called Zyklop, right? Like a play on Cyclops, single eye. So it's a one-eye version of Myth.
I can change
here's what it looks like.
the inharmonicity,
Hi, Peter. That's Peter
so I
from
can make
Dawesome.
it more inharmonic.
And as I've watched this walkthrough that just came out today, links in description. There's always links in the description, like to all the stuff that I reference. There's links. So visit them in the description, okay? You can see that this new synth that comes out tomorrow, today it's what? Oh, 11/21. So it comes out 11/22, I assume over at Traction. It's like just a slightly pared down version of Myth. So Myth. Whoa, fat fingers. Did I mention it's happy hour with Keith? So it's the one iris version of Myth. It looks like he left out a few of the more obtuse processing modules, but it looks like it has most of the cool effect modules, and he's offering it for free. I don't know about this as a marketing strategy, because you can get Zyklop for free. It looks like it does a lot of the stuff that Myth does. A lot of the patches that I've been demoing here. I did it again, didn't I? A lot of the things I've been doing really only use one iris, right? Like this one. So it kind of looks like Zyklop is going to be able to do like all of the basic stuff, just not the stereo resynthesis. That's interesting. Now, Dawesome Myth itself, now at 1.5 something, has a very generous trial period. It's 90 days. So you can go mess around with it for 90 days, and then I kind of suspect you might find that, well, for something as specific as this, maybe Zyklop is all you need. So I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to mention that. I forgot to mention that. I'll link to this video and maybe a couple of other ones, because I noticed that friend of the channel, Coolwave, who did some of the presets for Myth and then some of the presets for Zyklop, had a little preview of some of his presets for Zyklop that are quite interesting. So we'll link to that as well. So anyway, something to consider. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Phaseplant and Kilohearts Shapertable. Sorry, Filtertable. There's too many tables, right? So we've got wavetables, and then, we've got Shapertable, which is wavetable-driven distortion, and then Filtertable, that is wavetable-driven filter, which is a snap-in for Phaseplant. This is kind of interesting. So, when I started to do the conversion of KRC Mathwaves to the Phaseplant format, I wasn't a Phaseplant owner. And so, once my trial period expired, I was like, well, I'll just subscribe, because you can get everything that Kilohearts makes via subscription. It's like $10 a month. And at first I was like, okay, I'll just subscribe for as long as I need to, convert my wavetables. But they keep introducing great stuff. And I'm like, at $10 a month, to have access to everything they make is actually kind of useful. And I haven't done a deep dive on Phaseplant. I will get there at some point. In the meantime, if you want great content about Phaseplant, this artist and sound designer known as Virtual Riot, who's like a color-based guy, play some music, Keith. Play some sounds. So this is a Phaseplant patch that has a couple of KRC Mathwaves wavetables in it. These are there's a Vosim wavetable that's using square waves, and a Vosim saw that's doing this pretty cool aggressive sound. And I've turned off, I had a low pass filter on this originally. A very gentle one. We're not rolling off much of the wave at all there, are we? I've turned off the low pass filter, and I'm using a filter table now over in lane 1, and this is also being fed by one of the KRC Mathwaves wavetables. This is a Bezier-Vey wavetable. That means it's a Bezier curve that goes through the light and space created by one of my mysterious machine learning models. And listen to the sound of this. Very vocally and interesting, yeah? Ow! A lot of resonance there. A lot of resonance there. Just some other examples. I think this is very interesting. Oh, also, here's a thing that bugs me. So, why in soft synthesizers, are we limiting the length of file names like this? Look at all the wasted space in this. Okay, so here's the name of my patches. And yes, I call some of my patches fucked up, okay? Here are a bunch of patches that I wanted to demonstrate because they use filter tables, so they've got FT in the names of them. But look how they're cut off. And I can't stretch this out to show the full name. So there was actually an intended order to this, but I can't. Why? Why in the name of soft synths are we doing this? Okay, that's a minor complaint. I mean, Phaseplant is pretty cool. So I guess we'll just go through and we'll do different examples of Filtertable. So here is that same or similar patch. It looks like I've swapped out one of the wavetables for like this saw wavetable. This is from my Polygonal Redux collection of wavetables. That's like 2 videos ago. We'll link to that as well. I'm making filter face now because I've got a filter. And so in Filtertable, we've got loaded this wavetable that this is another one of the Vey ones. I think this is from 366. Yeah, oh, it's from Vey 365. And this is it's a very interesting filter, right? You can see how complex it is. It has all these kind of high frequencies. So, you know, I'm not doing a very great demo of Filtertable, right? I'm just kind of rambling. We're doing talky synthesizer content. Like and subscribe for more talky synthesizer content. But one thing that's interesting here is that the cutoff can have a very different effect on like what gets through the filter. So like if I move this down, see now it's this very like jiggity jaggedy part. That's getting through the filter, and if it's up here, now it's a little more like a characterful, it's sort of a low-pass bandpass if we're reading the chart correctly. I think this is like a really cool effect, and there's just all sorts of different. You can just grab, you know, any like different KRC Mathwaves wavetable, like especially like from this collection. So Vey 365 is in the full collection. No, Vey 365 is actually free. Vey 365 is in the free collection. Like, listen to this one. Pretty cool. It's very interesting. These respond really interestingly to modulation. One thing I found, and I think maybe Kilohearts demonstrated this, I think they ship a PWM style wavetable with Filtertable, but I have my own. And so this is a wavetable that does pulse width modulation, right? You can see that there's pulses, like square waves, of different duty cycles in here. Let's undo our changes, shall we, by reloading that patch. The sound of a square wave filter that's based on PWM is like this complex comb filter, right? You can see that here. It's super interesting. Like, we might even want to re-engage our low-pass filter. What would that sound like? Like, pretty wild stuff. Another thing that happens, and this is very similar to what happens when we have a wavetable oscillator, is that sometimes when the wavetable stops moving, the sound becomes kind of dead. And so what I'm doing here is you can see that position is being modulated very slightly by this pyramidal shaped LFO just to keep it moving. If we were to turn that off, let's double click that to turn it off. See, once the wavetable stops moving, like the sound suddenly becomes very static. And so kind of, a cool tip here is to like modulate the position just a tiny bit with an LFO, just to always keep it moving. Always be moving. Wow, 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 wow. Here's what that sounds like with the resonance down. That can also make a very big difference in these kind of filters. Anyway, it's super interesting. The one thing that's super interesting about this, I guess, is that I had done complete sets, or like a large set of convolution wavetables, so where we took like one waveform from the original KRC Mathwaves collection of single cycle waveforms and convolve it in different ways with a second randomly selected waveform. And so somewhere in here, there are examples of that. Let's see, is that one? That one? You can put, anyway, the point is you can put convolution in your convolution. Hell, you know, because I can't navigate this, I'm just going to go up here. And I'm just going to like go, okay, down. Down. Wicked. And you can see that like different types of wavetables do like completely different things to the filtering. Now here's a patch where I've combined shaper table, which is like a wavetable-driven distortion, with filter table. If I were to turn off shaper table, this should sound a little less aggressive. Yeah, cool. I could get used to this. I think that's the same patch. There's the PWM thing again. Whoa, what the F is going on here? So like, listen to that talking. So now we've got a Dawesome inspired square carrier wavetable, again from KRC Mathwaves in here, a Dawesome saw waveform, and then a Dawesome saw waveform driving filter table. And these Dawesome waveforms are like, they're very vocal. They have these very formanty properties, and so they can sound like speaking. That I don't know if this is saying anything that we can discern. It's not. It's actually just kind of random. But I don't know. That kind of that makes me want to call myself Skrillex. And now I do bro step and tear out. Follow me on Instacart. Let's try some other things. Interesting. We've heard that one before. Fat fingers. I don't know. That's a different talkie wavetable, so we selected a different Dawesome saw to drive filter table. I think if you play this backward, it's saying sell your soul to Satan, but I'm not sure. And that's the original patch that inspired this, that doesn't have filter table. Anyway, filter table is a lot of fun. Shaper table is a lot of fun. I guess I'm grateful for Phase Plant for like giving people more reasons to say, buy a huge collection of wavetables at wavetables.lol. Thank you once again. Like and subscribe for more talky synthesizer content. Thank you, subscribers 1030 and below. Each and every one of you is a true pal. I really appreciate it. If you're not liked and subscribed, like and subscribe, because like, why wouldn't you want more of this kind of content? As we head into Thanksgiving, I hope that you're well. I hope that you're grateful for something in your life. And remember that gratitude is a practice and it's not a feeling. So, you know, you could be like a Aquila Rift and you like reach out to somebody and say, hey, here's a thing I made, and you could share it with them. And that's a way of showing gratitude. So go do that. Anyway, like and subscribe. Go to wavetables.lol. Use coupon code REVBLACK to save more than you're going to save ever on KRC Mathwaves. And have fun. I'm going to go finish my cocktail. What else? I think that's it. Maybe should I check my notes? Ooh, let's check my notes before I leave. Maybe I forgot to say something. No. Oh, I was maybe going to do something with Air Windows. There's new stuff being added to Air Windows Consolidated all the time, but this video is now about an hour long, and so we're going to skip it. But there's a bunch of new cool stuff in Air Windows. Maybe I'll do that when I'm down in Palm Springs next week. We'll see. You know, the videos that I do in Palm Springs, I wear a different hat. I wear like a funny straw hat that I got from Oriental Trading Company, and that's a whole thing in itself. Hey, it's Keith, your old pal Keith from wavetables.lol signing off. I'll talk to you later.